Please give a warm welcome to Priscila Alanis, Executive Director of Sélvame MX. José Pepe Urbina, co-founder and board member of Sélvame MX. And Roberto Rojo, science communicator in Sélvame MX.
Okay, well, good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Before we start this conversation, I would like to share a brief introduction about Sélvame MX. 4 years ago, Sélvame MX emerged from a citizen movement in response to the accelerated environmental degradation of the Maya rainforest, one of the most important ecological regions in the world. What began as a collective effort to raise awareness and defend the territory evolved into a multidisciplinary nonprofit organization, working at the intersection of science, community, and advocacy. Grounded in the urgency to protect the region's underground freshwater systems, biodiversity, and ecosystems, Sélvame MX now develops and implements initiatives that generate data, strengthen local capacities, and drive long-term environmental protection. At Sélvame MX, we work to protect one of the most important and fragile freshwater systems in the world, and it is in the Yucatan Peninsula. The system is not only critical for Mexico, it is part of a shared natural infrastructure that connects ecosystems, economies, and communities across the region. I am Priscila Alanis. I am the Executive Director of Sélvame MX, and with me is Roberto Rojo, biologist and technical lead, and Pepe Urbina, Jose Urbina, we call him Pepe. He's a cave diver and environmental defender. So we're here today because we want to share with you our vision, our perspective, and the importance of the conservation of this region. So let's start with you, Pepe. You have been in the territory for many years. What was happening that made it clear that something needed to change?
Hi, everybody. I'm Pepe. I'm a cave diver. I became a cave diver more than 20 years ago when I arrived to Playa del Carmen. I was going there for 6 months, and 23 years go by. And I fell in love with the place. I fell in love with the ocean, with the sand, with the mangrove, the jungle, and these cenotes, the sinkholes. And what I think was a great change, back then everybody who lived there felt the same, either because they were born there or because they chose that place to live because they fell in love. Therefore, all our decisions came from the love to our home. We protect our home. We really care for where we live and share. And because it was a paradise, of course, tourists choose to go. And then something happened. There was a moment, I can remember exactly, when suddenly the decisions on that city were taken, heading not to protect the home, but to sell it. You can put a tag with a price to every single fish, to every single tree, and you can sell it. So everybody who was investing there want to sell a piece of our home, and that changed because people who were taking decisions there weren't living there. They just want a return of that investment. And the people who still live there, we were not businessmen. We were not ready for that change, and we didn't know what to do. All what we have was love and knowledge. And maybe that's still what we have. But I think that was the biggest change in the destiny of our home.
Thank you, Pepe. At that moment, what did you feel was missing? You know, what was not being addressed?
Well, we can blame people who were investing 30 years ago when Cancun was created in the 70s, that they didn't knew what they were doing. And I understand. I cannot, be mad at them. But suddenly people start to take the decisions of how to build, how to develop, how to grow, not with because they were ignorant, but because they didn't care. Listen, there is a cenote here. You cannot build this. I explain everything that is there to protect. But they choose not to care. And when you are trying to negotiate with somebody who doesn't care, you have to change your strategy and your language. And we speak in one language, and they were speaking in another one, and I think that was what the problem, what was missing, the communication.
Well, what Pepe is saying, is describing, is actually something that is a broader challenge. But to understand the scale of it, I think, Roberto, you can help us. As a biologist, he has a really wise view of all of this. And I think we need to look deeper. So tell us, Roberto, can you help us understand what makes this system unique?
Of course, Priscila. Hello, everybody. Have a happier day. And first of all, I want to thank the organization for inviting us and being here to share things from the place where we live, the place that we love. And to understand this part of the world, we need to understand a little bit of geology. I'm going to be fast in this, but we need to understand that the peninsula of Yucatan, it's all made of limestone, and this limestone started growing 400 million years ago. Long ago, things happened. An asteroid came and destroyed most of the life on Earth in the peninsula of Yucatan. But very recently, geologically talking, 2.5 million years ago, at the beginning of the Ice Age, this plaque of limestone emerged from the sea. And when this happens, something chemical, an amazing thing happens, that every time it rains on the limestone everywhere in the world, the rain dissolves the rocks, forming caves. Everywhere in the world where there are limestone exposed, there are caves. And these caves grow bigger and bigger, and one day, when they cannot support their own weight, they collapse. And then we have a cenote. I want to ask you, how many of you have ever been in a cenote in the peninsula of Yucatan? Yeah, okay.
Wonderful.
Okay, let me tell you that you've been blessed. You have witnessed one of the most amazing expressions of the limestone in the world. In the middle of a pristine jungle there in Mexico, we have these sinkholes that go straight into crystal clear water. And that is the first thing that we need to understand in this place. We have more than 10,000 cenotes. We think that we have more than 10,000 cenotes in the peninsula of Yucatan. But those cenotes are just the windows of large labyrinthic ecosystems. We have in the oriental part of the peninsula of Yucatan the two underwater largest cave systems in the world. More than 600 kilometers known so far that has been explored by brave men and women in the last 40 years are part of this vast system that is full of life, even though there shouldn't be life there because we don't have the sunlight. And we have blind fishes, blind crustaceans, 54 species of bats that give life to the jungle. And inside of these caves, we have human remains from the first people in this area. 13,000 years ago, the first humans arrived to this area. And then the Mayas. For 3,000 years, they took the most important thing of all this story, that is the water. Through these amazing and beauty caves, it goes the water, like the veins of the earth, the waters that we have to we drink out of this water, but not just us, the animals and the jungle. And all of these things, the pristine jungle, the geology, the human remains, the ancient remains, and the life there, but the water make this place a unique place in the world. Not for the UNESCO, there is not yet a human heritage for us. Today is a human heritage, and that is the importance of these systems.
Thank you, Roberto. Can you explain a little bit more about this interconnected and alive system? So we want to learn a little bit more, because as you know, Yucatan Peninsula, everything, I think everybody knows Tulum, Cancun, probably. Well, the peninsula de Yucatan is 3 states. It's Campeche, Yucatan, and Quintana Roo. And they're all connected in this incredible system that is underground. So can you explain to us a little bit?
Yeah, of course. I would like to take all of you to one of these caves, really, because we love to share these places. We love these places. When we are there, we feel so peaceful. Sometimes we turn our lights off in the middle of the cave, and it's all complete darkness. But we are not afraid of this. We feel safe, happy in the caves, and we love to share this with you. But as we are here, and we're not in a cave, let me try to explain you a little bit about this. These places are full of life, and they are all alive and interconnected. Because it's not only one ecosystem, the one of the caves. It works as a team with the other ecosystems in the region, like the jungle, and we don't have many jungle left in Mexico. Let me tell you this is a fact that I don't like to say much, but we need to know it. In the last century, Mexico lost 95% of the rainforest. The most incredible ecosystem, the most biodiverse ecosystem in one of the top 5 countries with more biodiversity in the world, we've lost 95% in Mexico in the last century, in just one generation. That's what we are fighting for these places. And we live in the north of Quintana Roo, in one of the last spots of pristine jungle that takes the water from the caves. And these caves carry the water to the coral reef. We have the 2nd largest coral reef in the world, just after the Australian. So jungle, caves, mangrove, and reef, they all work together as a team. And with the coral reef and all of this crystal clear water, we have white sand, beautiful places to go for vacations, and we live there. I mean, there is also the human compound of this place. Everything in this area works as a team, as a big ecosystem, as a big living organism. And, well, it's a little bit of what we see and we feel when we are there inside of the caves.
Thank you. Pepe, what is at risk? Why is it so important that we are there and that we are trying to protect and that we are doing all this effort? What is it? What is it at risk?
I listen to Roberto and I understand every single word that he says because I feel it. He talks about the caves, and I see a stalactite and a stalagmite, and I have a deep respect for that. But for many people, maybe for you, it's just a rock. And you're right, it's a rock. I've been there, and I have found conch shells that are fossilized of a snail who was alive before the humankind was even a project. So for you, it's maybe a rock. But I light it, I'm scuba diving and I put a light, and I try to fit all the time everything that has happened for me to see that shell now there. And I feel overwhelmed. I cannot explain to you what it feels to see a human remain down there. And look at it, and you know that that is one of the first humans to walk in Latin America. What we found there, and when I say we, I'm talking about the diving community. We have the best cave divers of the world living there. not only Mexican, for all over the world. They choose to live there for that treasure. And you look at that, and you know that that belongs to humanity. But maybe for you it's just a skull. I found once in a hole the remains of a sloth, a giant sloth. Imagine this, the sloth, but the size of a polar bear. And he was like hidden in a small corner of the cave. So imagine that that animal walked into the cave, fell asleep, and never woke up. For how the positions of the bones are, is what we conclude. And then, 70,000 years later, I was there looking at it. I cannot explain that to you if you don't care. But what is truly at risk, you must care, is the water. That jungle creates all the water that we drink. From the Holbox failure, La Falla de Holbox, to the coast are only 25 kilometers. That's how the water runs down. If we keep destroying the jungle, if we keep drilling holes in the jungle, we are polluting the water, we are stopping the factory that create the water, and of course, if we spread what people think is progress, when in reality is just growth like a virus, we'll contaminate that water. And soon, we will not have clean water to drink. And we, as a humankind, we will pay good money to clean the water, desalinize the water, take the salt out of the water. And we will be fine paying for water, but used to be free. But the jungle and the animals who live in the jungle will have no more fresh water, and they will die. We are not heading to a water crisis. We are already in a water crisis, heading to desertification. And I know it seems far to be believable because you see all that green, but that has happened before around the world. And if we keep taking decisions under the advice of people who all what they want to do is to sell the jungle, that's where we're going.
Well, I guess it's clear that the problem is always something that went wrong, something that probably wasn't planned, no? And taking care of nature and the communities that live there and the biodiversity. They don't have a voice, so I think we all have to be their voices. So one of the things that we do is to take action in that zone, in that region. So I would like to listen a little bit, Roberto, about what are we doing? Can you share with us exactly how are we protecting this precious ecosystem?
Okay, we live there, that's our home. Me as a biologist, I love the biodiversity that surrounds me. I was the director of the planetarium in Playa del Carmen. It's a planetarium, but it's also a natural history local museum. There were many kids that come to this place. A couple of these kids one day came into my desk and they say, "Hey Roberto, we went yesterday into a cave." And I was like, "What?" You have my attention. And they said, "Yeah, we were into the cave with the light of our cell phones. We were exploring the cave, and suddenly something moved at the end of the cave, and we got scared and we ran because we think there is a monster." And I was like, "Wow, I don't know if there's a monster there, but why don't we go?" I said this to the kids. "Why don't we go to the cave and explore the cave and map the cave?" And they said yes. So the next Sunday we went into this cave, making the map, exploring the cave, and they were so happy, looking that the cave was bigger than they thought. It was more exciting than they thought. And in the end, we have the map of the cave. And they were so happy, and they asked me, "Roberto, when are we going to the next cave?" And I was like, "Wow, I have something here." I have the kids that want to know the caves, And we have a lot of caves in our city, in Playa del Carmen. Our city was constructed, was built over more than 300 caves. And not many of them has been explored, not named, and we don't know where are they. So I said, okay, we have the kids that want to go to the caves, we have the caves, and we want to preserve the caves. Let's do something. And we made a plan. And they invited their friends, then their families, and then we start making the community come into the caves with us. And I can show you a picture of a cave, I can show you a video of a cave, but you will never understand what I'm saying until you are in the cave and you see the bugs, and you see the stalactites and the water, and they are amazed. Now, there are more people that has been coming with us, and they now realize the importance and fragility of the environment that surrounds them. The project grew, more people were coming, and we were trying to protect this environment, the Mayan underworld. We were doing this happily when something happened. There was a big project for the government to put a railway in the middle of the jungle. And we got scared, like, what? What's coming? So we tried to stop this train for destroying the jungle, and that emergency gathered us together, because there were people cleaning the beaches, making bird watching, doing a lot of stuff, but we got together because of this emergency, and we made plans, and we said we need to take care of this part. We had already many other troubles, but this was huge. And then we understand that we understand this before, that we just cannot be witnessing the disappearing of the last healthy jungles and the coral reefs in Mexico. We need to take action. And that's what we did, but not just Pepe and me or Priscila or five of us. We need to make a big army of people, a big army of people that by themselves, as a community, try to protect their homeland, their place. And this is what we've been doing the last years. And I'll tell you a little bit later how are we doing it right now. But we are taking action because we know that this is the movie we have to go through. This is the movie of our lives, and we choose in our life which character of the movie we want to be. If we want to be a secondary character, a stone, a tree, a superhero, and we choose to be superheroes to protect our place, our home, our house, and we have been doing this the last year.
Thank you. One of the things that we do at Sélvame MX, we are a multidisciplinary team, and I always get really excited because each one of us, as you said, has a superpower. So one of the things that we also think is really important is to have data, have the science. After all, is something that we can rely on and that people can get engaged. So do you want to explain to us why it is important that we monitoring water systems?
Yes, this army of people, of earth saviors, has been growing like a tree, and I like this. Now we are a big team of people, but we learned that we raise our voices. We tell everybody what was wrong and that we need to act. But that is not enough. We need to organize ourselves. And now we have different teams. Right now, as we are talking, there is a team of people exploring a new cave, mapping the caves, making the cartography of a cave. There is another team of people that goes with the kids in the primary schools because they have a theater show with
Mateo.
Yeah,
Bat.
Mateo is the name of the bat, and they go to the schools to talk about bats and the blind fishes. There is another team that take the rubbish out of the caves because they are full of rubbish, and caves are not rubbish bin or garbage bins. Those are ecosystems, so we have a team on that. We have a team that is taking legal action of what's wrong with the devastations and the destroying of the caves and cenotes. We have another team that make science communication. Every Saturday we go to some place in the city, maybe the graveyard or a bar or the house, somebody's house or the church of a school, and we give conference about nature and science so the people know more about their environment. And there is another team that takes samples of the quality of the water, because we are polluting the water that we are drinking, but not only us, the animals. In this flat land of the peninsula of Yucatan, we don't have surface rivers. If any animal wants to drink some water, they need to go into the caves, and we know that because we have trap cameras inside of the caves, and you won't realize what we find in there. We have jaguars entering into the caves, birds, reptiles, monkeys, deers, almost any animal in the jungle that needs to drink water, they go to the caves. Sometimes we are there with the people, and I say, would you drink this water? And I said, no, that's polluted. And I said, take a look at that, and we find a lot of tracks of animals that are drinking that water. We are poisoning the animals from the jungle, and we don't know. Maybe they go into the jungle and die, and nobody knows, because nobody sees that, but we are doing it right now. That's why we are taking samples of the quality of water, because we need to stop that. Also, the trees take this water. And now this team of people is making citizen science. We are empowering the society to get involved with science. Science doesn't need to be in the university's store there. Science is for everybody. We need the science. We need to learn science. We don't need to be scientists, but we need to learn science because we live in this place, and it's amazing to know the animals, the caves, the seas, and this is thanks to science. So we need to take the science to the people, and we make citizen science, and we use apps like iNaturalist, eBirds, and everybody goes to see a spider, a bug, a bird, a tree, and they are more aware of nature that surrounds it. But with every photograph they take data, scientific data, for taking care of this place. And in the end, we want to preserve all of this area, and we are doing it.
Thank you. Well, there are so many stakeholders in the region, and we are very lucky to have so many allies. There's the public, the private sector, the community, universities, academia, kids. So there's a lot of people involved in this project and in this organization. We take it like really, really serious. So we all address these three sectors. And I want Pepe to share with you examples that have been happening the past years, and how come did this happen, and what would we do?
Playa del Carmen, Cancun, Tulum, they are growing, and many people come with different goals. But among those people, there is people who wants to help once they find what's happening. So 1 decade ago, this group of people defend Cancun from a project that was being built on top of a mangrove. Everybody knows this as Tajamar. And it became like a beacon, it became like an icon of the defense of these new people living in the region. And there was people who were there before, trying to stop what the mining, open mining, like the famous, infamous Calica was doing in our jungle. Everybody has a care for the destiny, for what they're gonna choose to do with their lives. So with the resource you have in your reach, you can invest and do something. Here we have Guillermo, the professor, and he teaches, and he's very good at teaching. My only merit to be here is that I'm a caveman. I'm a cave diver, and that's what I talk about with people. Roberto is a biologist, and we try to spread this net, taking people with whatever resource they have to protect your house. I ask you right now, at the end of this session, if you have an idea, we need it. We came here for that idea that you have that we didn't think about it. Few months ago, there was this big cruiser company who wants to build another big pier in Cozumel. And I understand the goal of them is to make more money, but they lied. They say that they're going to build a pier in a place where there was nothing. And we knew there is coral reef, seagrass, there was life there. So we did what we've been doing always, asking people to come and see it. And in this occasion, the government listened. And there was people from the government who came and dove there with us. And they saw the coral reef. They saw the sponge. They saw a seahorse. And they came out of the water and they said, we cannot allow this. So we stopped the building of that pier and we helped to protect Cozumel. A very small victory if you compare to everything that's happening in the peninsula, but a huge victory for that reef. The jungle is so beautiful that you will find in Facebook and in the media, come and buy a small piece of paradise. And with that advertising, they are dooming the paradise because you have to cut down the trees, you have to build on top of the cenotes. So they are building right now, as we speak, a road on top of the biggest underground river of the world, the aquifer of Sakaktoon, full of archaeological and paleontological treasures. And when we proved that what they were doing that, the authorities listened to us. They came, they see it, and they cancel it. And they stop. It was a great, big, huge victory for us. We say, okay, we are heading to a change of the paradigm. You know, we are changing how this is going to happen. A few weeks ago, they started working again. Illegally. They don't have really permission more than impunity. We're going to build it because we want it. Because we want to sell everything. So right now, we are following a legal process to stop it. We are asking the biggest academies of Mexico, Rodrigo Medellin, Emiliano Monroy, people who really knows what they are talking about, to help us to stop, and we are helping. And the authorities, I have to say it out loud, Profepa, Mariana Boy, CONAMP with Pedro Álvarez y Casa, they are listening. But we are against a big, big hunger monster that wants to eat it all. And as I was telling you before, everything has a price. You can put a tag in Roberto. He's for sale. But what keeps us alive is not to sell it. What keeps us alive is not the fish that you have in your dish. It's the fish that is alive in the ocean. What keeps you alive is not the tree that you cut to build your house. It's the tree that is alive in the jungle. You may never see a jaguar in your life. You may never see a ocelot, a monkey in the jungle. But what keeps you alive is that they are there. You may feel disgust about bats, but trust me, bats are very, very important in Yucatan. So we protect a lot of them in small victories. Condos here were stopped or they change. Because with every single, and this is maybe the biggest victory that we have. With every single protest that we go and yell, we go into the Senate or to the Congress. Next to this claim, there is the alternative. We want to propose. Listen, this is not a good idea. What do you think if we do this? What do you think? Now there is a technology to do it that way. You could invest money on this instead of doing this. We try always to show what's wrong and give a handful of ideas to do it better. Because maybe we don't share the same goal. or maybe we do, is to stay alive, but from different ways. And this is another thing very important. It's very easy to make enemies. Right now, everybody, not just in this room, in the whole EarthX, we have the same heart beating, water and life. But if you start to talk with everybody, you will find that somebody wants that Brazil wins the World Cup. And I want Argentina, well, Mexico, but I have to be realistic. So, and if we focus in what divides us, we are going nowhere. We have to focus in what unites us. I don't need that everybody is my friend. I need allies. And what this group did, what Sélvame MX did, was put a lot of people together from very different areas, age, religion, political ideas. We all together want to protect water. And that's what we are doing right now at the jungle, right now with the kids, mapping or talking to you.
Thank you, Pepe. Do you like to add something, Roberto?
Yes. We have a lot of troubles in the world right now, and we know them. There in the peninsula of Yucatan, we are fighting against water pollution, cities growing so fast, devastation of the jungle, and many other things. But you know what? We have hope. Do you remember the story of these kids in the cave with the monster? They were right. There was a monster in the cave. In that cave, in the middle of the city, lives a blind eel that is endemic to the peninsula of Yucatan. It lives only there and nowhere else in the world. And we don't know almost nothing about its biology. And these kids, they found the blind eel living in this cave in the center of the city. And this specific cave today has the largest population of this species in the world. In the middle of the city, found by kids. And one of the kids that was telling me this story at my desk at the planetarium right now is studying biology at the capital city of the state because he wants to study this blind eel to learn more about it and to protect it. And you know what? That makes me have hope. This is what we need. We're going to make it. We're going to save that jungle. We're going to save that aquifer. We're going to save that reef. I don't have any doubt about it. We're going to make it because we are doing the right things for achieving this. Pepe said that we were talking with the government, and let me tell you this. Before 40 years ago, nobody knew about these underground rivers. They have been explored by civilians all the time, and we have in this north of Quintana Roo 1,800 kilometers of caves known so far without any protection by the government. But this year, maybe in a few months, we're going to have a protected area that is going to protect more than 3 million of hectares. That is more than half north of Quintana Roo in the underground part of this part. So we're going to protect it. It's true. It's like a dream come true for us, but it's just one step because we need to work more to protect this. And for achieving this goal, we need all of you because Earth knows no boundaries. Earth knows no frontiers. It's our home. It's our place. And we need to fight every day where we live and in other places in the world to save the Earth from us. We are part of the trouble, but we can be part of the solution if we want to do it. And we need to do it together. Maybe we won't see this jungle be saved because maybe our life is going to be, who knows, short, long, but maybe we won't see that. But I don't care. What we do is to work for the future. We think in 100 years ahead. I don't want in the future that a kid reads a book about that there was a reef with coral fishes. I want that kid to swim in the coral reef and see the coral fishes. I don't want in the future a girl reads a book that there was a jungle with jaguars and monkeys. I want in the future that a girl says there is the jungle and there are the jaguars and there are the monkeys because people in the past did the right thing. And we are working for that, and we know that we're going to succeed, but we need you, all of you.
Thank you, Roberto. Well, I think this is not about conservation. It's about water security. I think we all heard that we are already in bankruptcy of the water system. So this is a project that has a lot of things about water security, climate resilience, and economic stability. And as you said, I mean, I think the future is something that we believe that we have to create together. And we can speak a lot about climate resilience, water, biodiversity, the projects, the team, but I invite you to check our website, share responsibility, see the programs and the different things that we're doing, because I think we have like three big pillars. There is the initiative of have vigilance there, and we think that we have a team. There's really a big team that's doing that, but also we need to have addressed also the private sector and academia, and have more awareness of the people who's going to live in a área natural protegida, as we call it in Mexico. So what does that mean if you live there and it's a reserve? What's your responsibility as a citizen? So it was great listening to you. I'm new at this organization, and I am so happy that I started with these guys and all the other ones that are in Playa del Carmen. So if you have any questions, I would love to see something that you want to ask to Roberto, Pepe, myself.
Do you have a question?
Oh, okay, that was good.
I told you.
It's more about a comment, because I think that you have been doing a wonderful job. I have been following you for a few years in the news and everything, you know. But you mentioned something that it's incredible, and I didn't know that you were part of it, about Cozumel. I love scuba diving, and I have never, ever seen a coral reef like the one that we have in Mexico. Not in Australia, not in the Red Sea, no, in these spectacular places that they are very, very famous. And Cozumel is something out of the blue, no? So thank you so much for doing all this for our country and for the nature. Congratulations.
Gracias.
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 About Cozumel, I have to say that one of the richest things is that was a lot of people, a lot of organizations. You mentioned Cozumel, and I think of Angelica, I think of Lupita, I think, of so many people that were part of it. And what makes us succeed is how we put this effort together. So that's what I think we really need, to work together. There is somebody. I can be faster than you.
Well, first of all, I love your passion and the way you are creating awareness about this. And my question is, what can the business community of Texas do to help your organization and your efforts?
Thank you. Well, actually, sometimes the private sector is like, okay, that's great, but what can we do? It's a huge question. And I think there's a lot of ways to connect. We have different initiatives with companies. For example, can be a campaign of awareness inside or outside the company. It can be consultancy programs, or actually, there are some companies that have their, like different initiatives in the region, so we can support them. And we have so many allies and stakeholders, like I said before, so also like educational programs. So there's a lot to do. So you can go to the website, you can write to us, and we can, I always love to design programs, initiatives together. So also the private sector needs a lot of data, needs scientific, and for all these ESG, the Agenda 2030. So I think we can work together. Is something very particular for each company, each private sector, and also other foundations. Any other question?
Well, I'd like to say something very quick. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. We begin this, and most of the time we've been volunteering, having each one of us our jobs, and we go to the jungle, we documentate all the devastation, because we love this place, and we like to save it, to protect it. And recently we got together as a team, and we thought there's a lot of work to do onwards, and we try to do it more organized. So we are growing as an ONG, and of course we need a lot of help. We need some equipment for the kids. For doing this with more power each day and bringing more people. So in the end, we can save this part of the world with the community, everybody working together, and also for the future.
Okay.
Anybody else? No? Nobody want to make an offering, Roberto? Okay. There is over there.
Se lo llevo.
Corre, corre, corre. I would be remiss if I didn't say anything that I know Pepe very well. I go to Playa del Carmen all the time, and if it weren't for Pepe, I wouldn't know how to scuba dive. I wouldn't know about the cenotes or Cozumel or any of the beautiful scenery that they have. And I just really appreciate the opportunity to have known Pepe. Oh, and the education on the Mayan train and the devastation it's doing to Playa del Carmen. And I'm just very blessed to know you and to have you as my friend. And I will help you conserve in any way I can.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Gracias.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being here. Oh,
One more question.
One question.
okay.
You know, it's an easy question. Do you give us some information about the company that it's under construction today, but you don't give us the name of the company? What's the name of the company that it's broken the law?
Okay. Well, okay. So the company who's made in the road on top of Zacatún is the Mexican army. Yes. Unfortunately, there are decisions taken in the last few years, and we are still suffering the consequences of those decisions. So I do not blame them, but we need to do something to change their mind. You know, I'm tired of enemies. We have been making enemies for all our story, right? Right now in the whole world, everybody's pointing. Everybody's pointing. I need to talk with the Mexican army and become friends, become allies. When we were walking in the jungle before they built the Mayan train, we talked to every single engineer, with the archaeologists who were around, with the people who was drilling the holes or cutting the trees, and we went with them. Hello, how are you? Do you want to come and see something amazing? And all those workers were amazed. All those workers learned something from Roberto. I spoke some of them inside the jungle, the cenotes, when we switch off the light. But I know they were doing the work, but I know they learn something. I need to expand that. So we need to change. The people who wants to build on top of the cenotes, on top of the jungle, on top of the mangrove, we need to reach them and change that hate or that. No, we need to learn to communicate and head to a future that's good for all, a true progress.
Last September, National Geographic made 2 articles about what we were doing there. You can look for that. One was for the magazine, and one was online. The one online talks about all the job that we do there. So if you can go and read that article, we will thank you, because it's this what we said, but large and more detailed.
With better English.
National Geographic. Yeah.
Thank you to our panelists
you.
for
Thank you very much.
for sharing such an important insights.